Welcome to the Blue PP Podcast. Today we've got Carlo Lucas with us and John, of course, our co-host, our wonderful, beautiful co-host, John of the channel with the freakishly long name. I am Striking Blue. How is everybody doing today?
My co-host is also a sexy motherfucker that has my bronze balls that I want back.
You're not getting those anytime soon.
Another centimeter.
Another centimeter.
You're right, another centimeter.
Fuck off. How many do I
Exactly.
still
Right.
have? That's about okay, so it's 65 more because this is 4 centimeters off the one side. I have to do something to get those sides back. Like, this is fucking horseshit. Any case, Carlos.
You have to be an absolute legend to earn those back.
Then what the fuck am I
Yeah.
now?
You have to do something extraordinary.
Okay, I let you keep them. It's like, do you have me next to that that Ultra Instinct Goku statue that you bought? That
So
one shit?
actually, before we get too far into the introduction of Carlo here, I want to say something to you, John. Something I've been planning that I can't keep my mouth shut about.
My mouse. Like, okay, what did that poor mouse do then in that case to deserve that? Okay, but
My wife and I were sitting here on Etsy the other day, and you've probably seen those little small, tiny, itty bitty pee figures that you can purchase on Etsy and sometimes on Amazon too.
so yeah, are you thinking of making one for me?
Yes, but you've called yourself Ultra Instinct PP, but the thing is, like, Ultra Instinct doesn't necessarily mean that it's big PP. It just means that it naturally dodges pussy. So what I'm going to do,
Oh, no, blue. I'll give you that. That's the best fucking roast I've ever heard in my life. That is the best fucking roast I've heard in my life. I am not even mad at that. Like, I expect that. I respect that one. That's the best
Your
thing.
pussy,
So that's probably
your
what
pussy
she.
magnet.
Yeah, no. So in that case, no.
Your pussy magnet has been reverted into negative.
So that's
Yeah,
probably
instead of
that's probably
negative,
also
positive.
that. Yeah, that's probably why Goku never had another kid. Now that I think about it, he just went.
He dodges.
It's not just that pussy.
oh my God.
Oh lord! I
But
can.
we're gonna get a little tiny small PP. We're gonna put Ultra Instinct hair on it for you.
Oh please, just do that. Like literally, dude. I will.
Oh my God.
I cannot. I will never be able to get mad at that statement because it's so fucking smart. And us both as Dragon Ball fans, like, I wholeheartedly respect that. It's the best fucking roast on the planet. But any case,
Oh my God.
aside from the best roast of all time, Carlos, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am Carl Lucas. You can call me Carlos or Lucas or Carl. Doesn't really matter. I do reviews of indie games mostly on the internet. I interview devs. I like to talk to people, especially like smaller content creators. Yeah, I try to do my best with reviewing stuff. I currently am trying to got into gacha games. I've been like I'm trying to go into the community, but I've been pretty much hated by them because I'm very much against gacha, and people don't seem to take well when you hate the thing that they like, which is fine. It's fine, they can hate me. I take it.
Yeah, I guess it's
but yeah,
respectable, but I remember that one comment, when I was watching you doing your live stream, that one guy just did
Yeah.
it for hate. That's just the thing. You'll get people that are so entitled to
Yeah.
those kinds of games that they'll just go out of their way to give you hate no matter what you do.
I think they just didn't listen to what I have to say, actually. But that's fine. When you convince yourself of something, most of the times you cannot, without taking a step back, you cannot accept that maybe someone else has a different that has a point. So I understand. It's the internet, of course. Communication will always be a little bit lost in translation, basically. There's different okay, the best example I can bring up is always Ratatouille. I listened to it in German, in English, and in Portuguese. Every time there was a different message. The movie has 3 different messages in 3 different languages, basically. So
'Cause we're still talking about
languages are
the DreamWorks Ratatouille, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I watched that movie in 3 different languages, and every time it has a different message. which is like, wow, like the same movie, like the same animation, like basically the same dialogue, and it has 3 different messages at the end of the movie.
And it's actually
So,
quite
yeah,
interesting
like-
if you bring it up like that, like how that movie, it literally has just one plot, but it has 3 messages. Like, how would you even
Yeah.
like be able to make a message around one certain plot? That like that's impressive, if you ask me.
Yeah, it is the translation thing. The translation is basically spiced up with the person that translated it. Now, the person that translated it has a certain bias. That will lead ultimately to the translation of the original message being warped and transformed into something else that has like a connection to the original one, but it's not the original one. Like our view of the world is warped by our perception, basically.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually can see that in a lot of things in media, even stuff that isn't directly like through translation like that. People will lose it even in native languages when you're just talking to someone. You'll get lost in the translation even with that. Points will be misinterpreted and then run with, and it creates some pretty dangerous narratives sometimes.
And you cannot also not underestimate how much the general consumer doesn't have. That's not like that's not calling out the general consumer. The general consumer doesn't have vocabulary to express what they actually feel, and having a bigger vocabulary to express what you feel also warps how you feel about something. If you know, for example, a movie about basket weaving, a basket weaver will have a completely different view of that movie than someone that doesn't even know what a straw is. So knowledge about something.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, knowledge about something will also completely change how you perceive that thing.
I totally agree, because there's actually a scene in one of the Marvel movies. I can't remember if it's an Avengers or if it's Captain America. But Captain America is in the scene. I think it might be Captain America Civil War. But it's Civil War. It's right at the beginning of the movie. They're fighting those people that end up blowing the building up that they get blamed for, that tries to rein everything in. But Captain America, he runs into this like courtyard, and he jumps up on top of this bus. He goes, "They're armed with AR-15s." Like, so I'm a gun guy. All right. I love guns. I love gun culture. I love it all. Hearing that part in the movie made me cringe. And the reason why it made me cringe is because AR-15s are not fully automatic, because he goes fully automatic AR-15s. AR-15s are semi-automatic civilian weapons. Those are M4s. Those are not AR-15s.
Damn
so,
it.
like, I totally get what you mean. Like, your
Disney.
perspective, if you know what it is, your perspective is going to be different. Like, everyone else was like, oh, in the theater. And I'm sitting here going,
what the
wrong.
And that's a good example of what, when we talk about objectivity versus subjectivity, right? So if you look at that scene, they have this AR-15. We know why it was done this way. Like, it's like it has clearly, like, the general audience is aware that AR-15s exist. And it's like it's generally seen as like a weapon that is like it has a itchy connotation to it, so they use that word. But if you as a general consumer wanted to check if that was truly an AR-15, you would need to invest time to figure out, to like get the picture, then either ask in a forum or search out yourself how the model looks online, and then compare that. So if you want
it's actually even more than that, because like in this particular instance, it's going to take even more investment of time, because M4s will look just like AR-15s.
Yeah.
So all this difference is the only difference is rate of fire.
So just to figure one small thing out that can like put this whole scene in a different context, like, takes a huge amount of time, which the general populace is not willing to spend, and probably honestly, like, they don't need to. Like, it's not their job. It's our job. The critics. The critics should like look at those things, and like figure out, hey, maybe don't call those things AR-15 just because of like whatever reason. Call them whatever they are, and like, just weapons used for war are bad. Everyone knows that. It's like, I don't think we need to put that in context.
War is bad.
I definitely think they used. Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
No, I'm just saying war is bad in general.
Yeah, war bad in general. I don't think you need to sell it extra hard that war is bad.
Yeah, no, I think it really speaks for itself, really.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that I think they they used AR-15 because they're trying to create like some negative, like ooh, big
Yeah.
scary in the
Exactly.
movie, and then they know the general public will, you know, understand what that is because of how much has been demonized in the media,
Exactly.
and it's just like, oh, it's so frustrating going into movies and seeing things like that.
Yeah, but sometimes, you know, that's like coming through our perspective. Like, we know how these things are actually supposed to work. Like, a normal viewer of a movie wouldn't really even think about those things. It would just go over their head.
Yep.
I mean, exactly. The normal viewer wouldn't even think about it, and like it wouldn't change the movie. But when you are like a critic and you're looking at it, and you know this is your field of expertise, then it suddenly changes the scene, which makes maybe the scene. First of all, it's factually incorrect, which makes it automatically like factually like it's factually wrong, and then like I start asking yourself, why was it done this way? Like, and you go into this rabbit hole of like asking yourself why, just what the why. Yeah, whatever. But I forgot what I want to say. Shit. Video games. So when video games are shown on like movies and TVs, most of the times you have controllers. It's not even hooked up to the TV, and they're playing a random thing. So it's like the general audience is not going to notice that, right? But you, as someone that plays video games, is going to definitely notice that.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's like
drives me crazy.
Yeah, and those are the things that like your knowledge about something will automatically warp your experience.
Yep. It's like veterans, like army veterans watching war movies.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of them can't watch it because they're like, there's this one this is a veteran I watch on YouTube. He's like, I can't watch these movies because I cringe because they're so bad. I'm like,
so
oh
wrong.
no.
Yeah, all wrong.
Which was respectful, yeah. I mean, like, a veteran of all people should know more about like how the media, like how things work, and then like how media is trying to change it.
The funny thing is that video games or movies or books or whatever, it's actually not that that's actually not that difficult to get experts on your movie set so they can correct your script.
Yep.
It's
like, just laziness.
It is mostly laziness. There's a monetary thing for the whole thing, but I'm pretty sure like counseling jobs is not that high. It's like, but so modern movies and modern video games and everything, modern popular movies, video games, and books and whatever spend most of the budget in advertisement. So that's one of the major problems we have right now when it comes to like and also nobody cares about quality at the end of the day. Like I'm talking about the gotcha thing and the whole thing. So this game Action Time On, it's like it's barely animated.
We bring that up,
like it's like badly animated, horrible story. The character models from 2000 from the PS2 era. The mechanics are fucking broken as fuck. But you know, people still give it a good response, and because most of the times, those people, first of all, they are like just like the franchise, but also they have not played many games. So as a critic, as someone that plays many games, I have a completely different perspective to someone that maybe plays 2, 3, or 4 games a year, and that's it. You know, for someone that plays like 10, 15, 20 games a year, I have a completely different perspective on those things.
So for the audience who does not know what that is, can you explain what a gacha game is?
Yes.
So gacha game is...
Can I just also say something? If you guys want a good introduction to like Carlos and what he's all about on YouTube, I would definitely 100% recommend like you go ahead and check out his review on Action Time On. I think it was absolutely perfect. Like, that was literally, I loved everything. It was well scripted. You made your points very clear. You know, I'm a guy that actually watched the entire video, and I didn't like go off of being opinionated. You know, like the one comment that we discussed about earlier. I thought it was well scripted, it was well edited, and I also love that intro. Like, me and my brother laughed ourselves dead just because
I had to watch hentai for scientific purposes this time.
Yes, I can literally second that. Carlos has showed me like the whole process in making that video. He literally has, so you know, he is in his full rights to say that he has. So yeah,
continue. I am indeed a member of the research team.
Exactly. He's part of.
You also went to OnlyFans for research purposes, John.
Yes, I know. Like not for research, for work. Like, I didn't need to research.
He said there was a time. you said it was a time you had like to research stripper malls for like a schoolwork.
Yeah. For one of our college projects, we actually had to like, it's not like a strip club. What do you call that thing again? It's basically
Peep
those
shows?
the Vegas showgirls. What are they called again? Burlesque.
Burlesque?
Yeah, it's burlesque.
Oh,
Basically
burlesque.
something like that. Yeah, and I had like the biggest fun researching that because if my mom would walk into the room, what's this? This is for research. And I was not lying. I think that's literally one of the best logos that me and my buddy worked because it was a group thing. So, and we actually also didn't do too bad on that project as well. So it's like we committed to our research.
Yeah. I wish I had more projects where I had to watch porn or hentai or any
my
new things for
Oh
research.
my god.
There will be in the future. There's a one project that I've been putting off because it's like, and there's one big project that I actually backed on Kickstarter. That will be very very fun.
I can.
Yeah.
imagine.
Anyways, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Let's
Okay,
get back
so-
on topic. Yeah.
Gotcha games. So, gotcha comes from like a machine in Asia where you have like little balls and you put in coins and you get a prize out. That's it. That's what gotcha is. And the gotcha games are basically that taken to extreme, trying to like introducing mechanics that will pry on people that have an addictive personality or are willing to spend a lot of money. So, for example, they have energy that refills after a certain amount of hour, or you can pay for it. You have roles like microtransactions that are basically gambling. You can either like slowly gather the currency, or you can buy it. Like it's always funneling you towards paying for the game, even though the game is subpar. Most of the time, it's very low effort. It will, as long as the game is being as long as people are being like sucked dry, the game will continue. The story never ends, and when the game loses popularity, then it just dies out and never to be seen again. That's what most gacha games are, and I think it's very worrying that people are just accepting it. I thought it was worrying when people accepted microtransactions in that game, in the $60 games, but that never stopped anyone. Like that's what gacha games are. Gacha games are basically infecting also other games. Like, but you wonder why like $60 games have now, like, for example, microtransactions or loot boxes. That's why, because those gacha games make bank, and by bank I mean literally millions.
Okay, but like in that situation, because this is kind of interesting to know, like how long were gacha games around, and if there is like factual, what was technically the first game? Because I know my very first one, as I'm pretty sure like a lot of people's might have been Genshin Impact, which I think is a pretty good game in itself, but I can say that most of the gacha shit in that game is kind of shitty, and at least I'd say that they managed to handle that pretty well from what Gaz has been telling me most of the time. But like, can you trace gacha games back to a certain source, Like, that would be very interesting to know.
Yeah. The first gacha game is called The Casino.
The Casino. So it's basically just gambling,
Yeah.
just a simple way. That's like the it's the westernized way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no like we use this flowery language to like describe microtransactions, which is a bad word in the gamosphere. But gacha is nothing more than microtransactions or loot boxes rather, and loot boxes are nothing more than gambling. Even though it's only done cosmetics, it doesn't really matter if you pay money and it will, on a draw of a luck, give you something. It doesn't matter if it's only cosmetic; it doesn't affect the gameplay. Even though cosmetics do affect the gameplay because you're seeing the other people wearing stuff, but that's a discussion for another time. It's gambling. It's basically gambling, and it's like the energy system. I think if you guys remember Clash of Clans,
Yes. I do remember
that was a big thing there. Or if you go even back further, something like Candy Crush also had energy systems. Or even back further, there's like something like Android Jump, or like there was this jumping game. Like it was like a little Android man. He jumps first for the iPod or iPhone. One of the first.
I think I know what you're on about. Like, I think the exact same game. If I can point you to my
Yeah.
profile picture, I think Sonic had the exact same kind of game that had like
Yeah,
this energy
and
thing,
in the
this jump
In,
thing.
in the first iteration, he had energy. They got rid of it. but in the first iteration had an energy in it. So yeah, like this stuff has been around for a very long time. Right now, people are more accepting it, which is worrying. And also, like if you think about like the whole Rachel Legends situation, where like a bunch of YouTubers just accepting like the sponsorships from those actually shitty companies. The companies behind Rachel Legends are casino machine manufacturers, which is funny.
I did not know that, actually. It's kind of interesting to know.
Yep, you can watch my video on it. I did 5 minutes of research. You literally need 5 minutes of research to find that out. And yeah, like AFK Arena, I think Markiplier is now a playable character in AFK Arena. AFK Arena is a huge gacha game, and I don't know if those content creators are aware that they might be serving something to even children, or like doesn't need to be children, to people in general, that could then lead them into addiction. I don't know if they are. It's like they're basically, in my eyes, they're basically trading coke. They're saying, "Hey, you want to take coke? You want to like sniff a little bit?" That's what they're doing in my eyes.
I don't think those content creators would even care.
I don't think they do care. I don't think it's been called out that much.
Well, I mean, like, at the same time, they're getting paid for doing that. So, I mean, like, I don't really see the point why they would even want to try. If they keep getting sponsorships from these people, like, why would they give up? I mean, like, I can't really say I'd be, like, better to handle a situation like that. Because, I mean, if a company would approach me and say, "Hey, listen, can you please promote our game for us and we'll sponsor you," then I mean, I'd be all for it. But like me, I would have this like huge amount of guilt, like if what I'm promoting is a fucking piece of shit. But at the end of the day, it's money, and like you need to make a living on YouTube. So I mean, like I don't.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, like that's why I say I can easily say what these people are doing is shitty, but I won't be like so thick-headed of myself to say like if I was placed in the same situation, I wouldn't do it differently. Like I would totally do the same. No, I don't know.
I would say no.
Yeah, well that's you. Like I said, everyone handles these things a different way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably like I have like a different perspective on like addiction, because my one of my uncles like died from alcohol addiction. Actually, two of my uncles died from alcohol addiction. My grandpa died of like alcohol addiction. I have addictive personality where I have times where I can like don't have self-control. I have other family members that have actually problems with hard drugs. So it's like I know what those stuff can do, and for me, this looks exactly like slowly falling into addiction. And the cutesification of those problems is kind of like worrying to me.
I guess you do have a good point, so I'm sorry to hear like all that happened. So
no, don't worry. It's like they got addicted. We tried to help them. They died. That's it. Addicted. That's the thing about addicted people. They will also try to like to tell you that nothing's wrong with them. They're like, "Oh no, I can stop anytime. It's fine. Like it's fine. Drinking is good." Like they will try to like justify their situation, and even if you try to help them. And I think I'm seeing by interacting with those people in the subreddit, I'm seeing the same behavior over and over again. And like there's basically a group of addicted people convincing themselves that it's no problem to spend vast amounts of money on those things that are already made to be addictive.
So I actually have a friend who falls victim to this stuff. He's fully aware that he falls victim to it, but he uses that same kind of terminology. I can stop whenever I want. I don't have to do this stuff. I'm not actually addicted. But the thing is, he only plays these kinds of games. He will not play anything else. If it doesn't have a system in it where he can benefit in game, being superior because he bought something, or just any kind of, if it does not have one of those systems in it, he will not play it. Like he's to the point now where those systems determine whether or not a game is good to him. And it's very frustrating to try to game with him because of it. Because man, when we're playing and he's dropping hundreds of dollars out of nowhere, it's like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like he'd be like, I just got paid and I dropped $300 on insert game. I don't want to call him out specifically, but it's even like it's infected a very popular MMO. This is the one that he plays the most.
Probably Final Fantasy.
Nope, not that one.
Okay. Then World of Warcraft.
That's probably the only two I know.
One of those. But he just I feel bad for him because he's definitely being taken advantage of. He definitely feels like he needs these things. And although he says he has control, he doesn't. So I totally agree with you, Carlos, on that. Like, I really think that these things are predatory. And you said that they're making them cute. They're trying to, make it seem innocent, and it's not. It's predatory. Like, they are coming after people with addictive personalities. They're coming after kids, and they're trying to indoctrinate kids into thinking that this is normal, this is okay, this is acceptable. Like, you should just continue to do this, and it just can't. It can't be. It can't be.
I'm sorry to bring the mood down, but this is stuff has been I think effective.
It's 100% fine to bring things to people's attention, because I mean, if somebody doesn't do it, like, who the hell is going to do it? Like,
this stuff has been affecting, like, me personally as well. Like, I see those people. I see, like, when I hear them talking, it's like it's the same thing over again. It's like reliving old memories. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's the same thing. Like, I'm hearing, like, the same arguments, just in a different, like, in the different clothing.
That's totally. That's 100% true.
So I'm sorry to bring that topic up. It's a very personal topic to me, and I understand as well that some people can control themselves. There's a lot of people that don't have a problem with it, but even if it's just 1% of the population that spends a copious amount of money on get addicted to it, that's already too much for me. And the developers know that. The developers live on the whales, the so-called whales, the people that, like, spend the most amount of money. Those are the people that keep the games alive. So they know they are like harping on people.
Yeah, don't worry about, like, talking about these kinds of subjects and stuff. What we want on this podcast is, like, if there's something that you have on your mind, feel free to let us know and, like, talk about it. So we want to have like 100% like comfort for our guests.
Anyways, let's talk about Undertale.
Yes, definitely best game of all time. Yes, me and Carlos have had, like, a very huge discussion about, like, Undertale and what that meant to, and what the game means to us. So, Blue, are you aware of Undertale?
I'm aware of it, but I've never played it. A lot of people have told me to play it.
Yeah, I have not played it yet. I think really, like, how, like, attached.
I think the gamer card has to be taken away.
Oh my goodness! I wouldn't go that far, but still, like, because I remember the first time I saw Undertale. Okay, it was around. I saw it, like, on a top 10 games of 2015. Now at that time I was, like, just turning 16, so I was still, like, heavy focused on my 360 playing shit like Halo, GTA 5, all the normal stuff at that point. What came out in 2015 as well was Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. So I was playing that. So I was totally expecting to see that win, like, Game of the Year and stuff. So when I saw, like, this top 10 and I saw this game called Undertale, like, this pixel art thing, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, how is this? Like, I think it was also pretty high up. I think it was 4th best game of 2015. So I sat there and I thought to myself, how could this game win or be so regarded so high up, like this 8-bit thing? And then I keep seeing it's on memes and shit, mostly Sans. Like, obviously everyone who hasn't touched fucking Undertale at least knows who Sans is. And then, you know, like, when my love kind of evolved for different kinds of games, like, I was starting to accept more kinds of games into my life. Then I thought to myself, one day I was just literally at college. I was bored. Like, I literally, like, burned through most of the games I was playing at the time. Then I thought to myself, you know what? I want to see what this Undertale is about. Because, like, if I can just talk about, like, I've seen mostly the good fan art about Undertale. Then it was mostly about, like, it was a fanfic story that I actually saw about the character Asriel, you know, like, and then I see, like, you know, him in his, like, adult form, and then I see he's like a kid, and it's like, what's this all about? What is this the same character? And I keep looking, and I started reading up the lore, and it's like, wait, hang on, this fucking seems interesting. I went to Steam, I got the game, I played it, immediately fell in love with almost everything about it, like all the characters, all the humor, like the world that you lived in, even like the gameplay, which was basic, but if you take what the gameplay had, like, in relegation to how the plot and the characters work, then it just means a lot more to you. And if I can just I cried at the end of it. Like, I
did as well.
Yeah, no, like, that just goes to show, like, how attached that game made you. Like, at the end, it's like, this is unfair. Like, and I'm not even saying it, like, the first time I finished it, I was choked up. Then I read up some more things. Then when I finished that game my second time, I was just fucking bawling my eyes out. Like, literally, I couldn't fucking deal with it. So, yeah, Carlos, bring, like, your perspective into Undertale. Like,
I think what was that? Total Biscuit. I mean, he was still alive. I watched his podcast a lot, and
R.I.P.
then he like
legend.
Sorry.
Total Biscuit. Yeah,
Yeah, R.I.P. to the legend.
Mm.
Total
Total
Biscuit.
Legend. Exactly.
I
Like,
never watched him, but I do know like how much he meant to a lot of other people. So yeah, like
the
rest in
void
peace.
the void has not been filled, you know. He and Jim Sterling were like on opposite sides of like the spectrum, but both had like probably the biggest integrity on the platform.
Yeah.
And the void has not been filled. It's like still open for grabs. Like I don't think it will be filled. It's too big of a role to fill.
Mm.
Anyways, he talked about that and like, okay, I'm a big hipster. I was becoming a big hipster when it's like comes to games. Like I'm one of those weird people that like doesn't like to play AAA games when they're released because I think they will be broken anyway. So why bother? So I tried Undertale. Played it the first time. And like, okay, cool. I like that. That was because I didn't go to different routes. I played a second time with the knowledge of the routes, and then at the end I was just bawling out, just like crying, like streaming tears, and like even with that I was still playing the game. So like me playing the game and me just crying like ugly cry, like tears flowing down my face. I could barely see something. Still got through the fight, and then like it ascended the game for me from like just a game to something I will never forget in my entire life.
Exactly.
Like my deathbed, I would be talking, grandson, please play Undertale.
Yeah,
it's a good game.
Like I literally like asked my family. Like my brother will know this for sure. Like track, which one was it? 60. It was 60 something. But the track Undertale, like that one before you face Asgore, like the one where they're telling you the story.
Yeah,
I told this to I told this to my family. I told this to Gaz that if I am to die, I want to be sent off with that song. Like I want.
I would like Spear of Justice. It's like a pirate themey song.
Well, I mean, like I guess it's up to you. Like, if someone hears that song, like I guess it would like, at least they'll like remember like your humor through that. So it like would like lift them up a bit from it. But like, I just love that song so much, dude. Like I listen to that thing and I still cry my eyes out every single time. Like I have to think what happened in that moment.
OST.
Yeah, that's my favorite OST of all time.
Just so good. It's so like people talk about Halo and shit like that, about the orchestral stuff. Undertale speaks to you on every level you can. Like if you're listening to it, it speaks to you on so many levels. There's fun stuff, there's eerie stuff, there's sad stuff, and like it goes through the whole spectrum of emotions.
Yes, and that's why I think like that soundtrack, coupled with what happens in the game, the characters that each song also like represents, like that just goes to show. Like it's weird how a game with such a limited art style literally makes people feel that way. It's like you're fucking falling for pixels. Like you don't want to see anyone die because each of them has flaws, which was done intentionally, but they were fixable flaws. Yeah. That's the thing that made you want to give these people a chance. And if you're like heartless, you can kill them and then never talk to me again.
Yeah, for example, stuff that gets like super heavy-handed in like AAA games was handled here super fine. Same-sex couples. It's just a drop there. It's like it exists. Bye. Like exactly. It's not even like people don't even question it. It's just there. It's just there. It just exists. And like it's stuff that AAA titles struggle with, like bringing emotion or like normalizing this kind of stuff. It's just there, and like nobody talks about it because it's so normalized in the world itself. But also, I have to criticize it a little bit. The art style, if you don't like pixel art, and even if you like pixel art, can look ugly as fuck.
Yeah. I can understand that. It's not
certain areas.
The art style.
Certain areas can look like just be like because the beginning area, for example, is pretty okay, but then you get like to a factory, and the factory sometimes looks just garbage.
I still think
like even me, as a connoisseur of pixel art, don't like it.
Yeah, I don't mind the pixel art at all because one of my favorite pixel art animators is called Paul Robertson, I think is his name. Like he primarily, if you guys have seen like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, he is the dude that did all the animations for that. And I did myself an animation on my channel like 2 years ago. and my art style was completely inspired by him. And like, can I also just bring up, like, I think the most beautiful place on Undertale, despite like its limited like graphical style, was definitely that waterfall section where it's like it's basically a marsh, but then you have like those blue trees and shit. Like, I've seen so many fucking beautiful art renditions of that, like how it would look in different styles. Like, it just looks insane. Like, for just as such a, it's impressive that like such a limited like graphic style, like so little bits can actually make up like one of the most beautiful scenery in a game.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it's pretty much true. I think there's I can't play the game anymore. Okay, like for me, the world is done. I cannot. If I would ever touch that game again, I would betray what I've done, the emotional attachment I have to it, and in universe story would also break apart for me.
Exactly.
That's a very, very important that I don't play it anymore. I can't play it anymore. That's why I will never probably talk about it on the channel, except like on podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but like
no.
it's for me, I can't do it anymore. And even though like it's so long ago that I played, I can vividly remember all the parts.
No,
like it's so ingrained in my brain.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like, and that's interesting how it just shows to you like what impact games can have on people.
Yep.
All right, so Blue, I'm sorry, like we're kind of like
keeping Blue out of the loop. It's like, let's Undertale fan podcast now. Let's talk about Asriel and shit.
I still think he's my favorite video game character of all time, just because it's like his character is like probably the most important character in like the entire game. But he's literally only seen like at the very end of the pacifist run.
I mean, he's mentioned a few times.
Yeah.
Like in anything alludes, like from the beginning, it alludes to like him existing. But yeah. If you're paying attention, like, oh, there's someone out there probably.
Yeah. And like, there's this one part very early in the game, like when Undyne just breaks a fucking bridge under your feet, like, and you fall, get concussed. You can hear his voice. Like, that's the first time like you get a hint of him, and then there's like always just these references to him, and I think that's like a good way to play off a character as well. Like, he's literally the most important character in the entire game, but you only literally see.
Sans talks about him. The skeleton boy talks about him. Undyne talks about him. Elfie talks about him. The robot doesn't talk about him, but that's it. And of course, the king talks about him.
And then when you if you learn to the whole backstory, because there's like in the final part, we're in that lab with all those white things, like you watch all those tapes and shit. Yeah, then you learn everything that you would ever need to know.
One of the things that got me like spooked was like Alfie is kind of evil.
Yeah. No.
Like Alfie's kind of like Alfie's kind of amoral. She's like, oh, cutesy persona, but very like when we go look at what she's done, it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Like, but that brings me up back to what I said. Like, each of these characters has a flaw, and like, it's a fixable one. It's not like, oh no, they've literally went past the point of where I can't like fucking be saved. You know, like that's probably like how like the neutral ending of No, actually, I saw like this one post on Reddit once that showed like if you go for a pacifist, no one can be saved. Not everyone can be saved. You know, because you couldn't save Asriel at the end, which is like the fucking worst thing in my eyes.
Yeah.
But Blue, you're still there.
There's also one scene where like you go into like a house and there's a ghost, and the ghost says, "You want to chill? You want to chill? Yeah, you want to chill?" And they're like, yeah, sure. And then you chill, and suddenly trippy stuff happens. You're like, whoa, nice. Like, all this like, this is so small. It's such a small part of it, right? But I can still remember. There's a snail race that I can remember. Like, you bet on a snail, and the snail always loses. So the game is basically rigged for you.
Exactly.
There's one dog that steals something for you after you've done so many things for him.
The annoying dog. Yeah.
There's one fight where you fight the dog and you pet him, and then his neck extends until he comes back up.
That was
like a fight where you flex and they keep flexing and the other keeps flexing and they flex it out of the screen. It like there's so many things I can remember just like because it's so well made.
Like, Blue, this is why me and Carlos will both recommend. I would fucking gift you Undertale so you can do that on stream once. Like, you will not regret that game.
Okay, buddy.
All right, cool. So enough of Undertale. I think me and Carlos had like our huge discussion on why we love that game so much. So yeah, what's up next? What's next on our plate?
Do you guys play indie games? That's like my question in general, or
yeah.
try more?
I'm
Try
mainly
more the.
I'm mainly a guy that plays AAA games, but I will not shy away if an indie game looks interesting to me. Then I will give it a go.
I play whatever catches my eye. Like, one of my favorite games of all time, I shouldn't say of all time, but like probably my top 20 is Firewatch. I really enjoyed that game.
Oh, I heard about that. That thing looked so good, actually.
From Campo Santo, right? The guys that also like part of the was Life is Strange stuff, right?
I think it was.
I'm not sure who. I'm not sure. All I know is that game was beautifully made, and the interactions in the world were just. It was incredible to go through. I really enjoyed that game.
I can imagine it's probably like similar to like this. Generally speaking, like you guys value storytelling in games because it seems that stories that are mediocre to bad get a big pass in video games, especially RPGs or even like shooters. Stories just get a pass. Nobody talks about them. Nobody cares about them.
Like,
political allegories, nobody cares. Just it's there.
Yeah, you got a good point. Like stories, I don't care about a story if it's something like in a shooter. Like, I'm pretty sure me and Blue both agree. Like, we do not give a shit about the story in Doom, like whether it be the 2016 one or the Eternal one. Because the thing is, why that's okay is that the people that made the game doesn't give a shit. Like, Blue, did you play the first Doom before Eternal?
Yeah, I did. And well, see, here's the thing with me though. I want to care about the story in those games, but it sucks so bad that the gameplay becomes what I focus on.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's better to explain it like this. The story only means as much to me as how the developers, like how much emphasis developers put on it, because they try to harken back with Doom. Like, back to the old days, like the first original Doom and like Doom 2, like they didn't have fucking stories. You just went into a place and you just shot the hell out of anything that you saw. Like, there was no rhyme or reason. It's just like, you shoot shit.
Well, see, that only works when the gameplay is good, though. When the gameplay can't hold up the shitty story,
Yeah.
that's where you run into issues.
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
Doom and Doom Eternal, their stories are not good, but the
Yes.
gameplay is so good. You're like, I don't care.
Exactly, yeah.
But there's plenty of examples of games that are just potato in both aspects that think they can skate by because they're just in the genre.
Mirror's Edge, probably the best one of the better examples.
I am loving
the story
Mirror's
is
Edge.
absolute garbage. The gameplay is absolute amazing.
Yes, I am
But the
literally
story is
just continue. Sorry.
no, the story is just.
I just want to literally bring up like how much I love Mirror's Edge. I'm literally playing that right now, and I'm literally already hooked. Like and you're definitely right. Like, but the thing is with the story that I like about that, it's just the way how it's presented with like those animated cutscenes.
Oh yeah,
The
presentation is pretty fine.
Yeah, it's a shame like the story just can't hold itself up with that beautiful presentation. So that's where you need to like literally go into like the gameplay. I don't know about the second one. I think they've done away with almost everything, even including those animated cutscenes. But as long as the gameplay can hold up, and Blue, I'm assuming you didn't like it that much if you say that.
No, y'all are making me fucking feel old because you're talking about Mirror's Edge. I remember Mirror's Edge came out when I was like 14.
I
We were
remember.
all 14.
I remember.
That's not true.
Now, I think I remember the first time, like, I think it was close to when it came out, like 2009. I was 10 years old when I first saw that game. I never played it until this year, but I mean, like, I've seen so many people say that it's, like, one of the most underrated games of all time, and I can definitely see why. Like, it's so
Yeah,
good.
Mirror's Edge came out in 2008. I was 14 years old.
Yeah, I was 9
Oh my
back then.
god.
There was so much like studio meddling, and you can see that in the game where like two design philosophies clash with each other. In the original one, the original idea, they wanted to make a game all about flow, all about like you figuring out how to flow through the stage. And then some dipshit suit said, "But what about the shooting? What about shooting? First person things have to have shooting." So, and then they introduced the shitty like shooting mechanics that are used like a few times through the whole thing. So yeah, and then Cataclysm fucked it up even more by introducing combat, which is like it goes completely against what Mirror's Edge was actually about. It's about moving cool through stuff, free running. That's it. Like having a flow, never stopping, running from A to B without stopping. But then they introduced all this garbage, open world garbage that is done by design and completely wastes potential.
I
But
think
it's like
I think like the
Christ.
open world stuff could have been done better, but I think like
yeah, but it was focused on the main aspect, moving.
yeah. And I don't think like the level design probably complemented that much. Like I said, I haven't played it yet. I literally just played it for like 5 minutes to see if my PC could run games at good settings. So like because I wanted to play the newer stuff. Like I've only had this PC for like 2 years, and I just want to see like what games can run beautifully on it. And that's the only impression that I got from Mirror's Edge. It can run 60 FPS on high settings. I'm happy. I'll play it whenever I get the chance again.
Coming back to Doom though, in Doom 1, didn't they actually give the player the option to just skip the story and like making the Doom guy not care about the story?
That's
so it makes like
That's literally
incense universe that the story doesn't really matter. So it's like just punches the screens when he doesn't like it, and he just moves on and kills more demons.
That's exactly what I was gonna get on about when we talk about story and Doom. Because literally, you can look at the screen, you press a button, he grabs the monitors, just fucking yeets it out of the way, then you're off. Like that. I mean, I'd say that's a good choice. Like, I think the developers intentionally did that because, like, you can either sit there and watch the shit, or you can just fucking drop it. It's up to you, honestly.
Exactly.
Like, I think that more games should do that. Like, you can have a pretty good story, but they will not punish you if you do not care about it.
Yeah.
We should talk about franchises that were really popular, took some time off, came back, and then rebuilt their legacy. Because I was looking at my library here, and I'm looking at the Tomb Raider games.
Oh,
And I kind of wonder if you guys will have the same experience as I did.
yeah.
I do too.
Let's hear. Let's hear it from you two. Let's go.
I hated the original Tomb Raider reboot. I thought Rise of the Tomb Raider was the second one, right?
Yeah. It was Tomb Raider, Rise, and then Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Shadow.
Yeah. So I thought Rise of the Tomb Raider was decent, and the new one, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, is awful. And I think a lot of that has to do with two things. I think Crystal Dynamics was starting to get into a really good kind of like rhythm with Tomb Raider, with Rise of the Tomb Raider. The story in all three of the games is not great, but visually, technically, and functionality in Rise of the Tomb Raider, you can see where they were going, like how they were trying to move forward. And then Shadow of the Tomb Raider comes out, and the developers who made Deus Ex, and I don't know where you guys stand on Deus Ex, but they made that one, and I can't stand Deus Ex games, and I cannot stand Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I barely beat the game. I bought it when it came out. It took me a year and a half.
Can I just bring something up? Like, this is gonna be very controversial, but with that, where I stand on Shadow, yeah, I don't think it's great. Like, I think that's the worst one out of all of them, because I think they literally tried too hard to like push that formula forward, and it kind of lost. But I actually really think like the reboot, the 2013 one, is my second favorite Tomb Raider game. Because I like it.
Really?
Like, yeah, I think it's better than Uncharted. No. I'm lying. Uncharted was better than that. But I did like how they evolved from Underworld.
I was about to say Uncharted.
No, I literally
from a gameplay perspective, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, but that's what I focus mostly on. Like, I think that the 2013 reboot's the best one. Rise of was great. Like, I like that. But I can definitely agree that Shadow was bad. And when you're bringing up Deus Ex, I think that Human Revolution was good, but it literally had too much mechanics that made you had to sink time in my opinion, and I really wasn't like too big on it.
I've tried to play Deus Ex for a long time. I've never finished a single one because I get so freaking bored that I cannot push forward. And that was the exact same thing that I didn't even know. I was playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I didn't even know that the Deus Ex devs made that one. But I was so bored. I was so bored in it. I was like, what is going on here? It was like, I literally was like, this feels like different developers. And I looked it up and I was like, oh my God,
Because
no
it is.
wonder.
Because it is. Like, I always knew that it was a different developer because it was, I don't know who it was. Like, what was that development team's name?
I don't even remember their name now. Let me look at it. They
Because,
are.
because I knew it was
Frog-
different.
I don't know.
What's that, Connors?
I don't know. Anyways, so immersive sims are always like a coin flip for people, because in immersive sims you can definitely sometimes fuck up your build.
Yeah.
So you're playing a certain way, you want to play a certain way, but the developer said, or the people that designed the game or designed the mission said, yeah, you can't really, or you can, but you're gonna have to fight for it very hard. It's like the same thing for me. For me, I can get into immersive sims, but for me, it's like the artsy games, that like are very experimental. Is like always a coin flip for me. Sometimes I can get into them and I can get into the mindset and like I understand what you're trying to tell me. And sometimes when I don't get into the mindset, when I'm like, this is garbage, and then like, oh, I can't get into it, I just stop playing. But back to the Tomb Raider thing.
Yeah.
One of the major problems I have with Tomb Raider is that none of those games have anything to say. They
Yes.
just like they have nothing to say. They have like hints of something to say. For example, in the first game, there is a story of like a little bit hints of like colonization of islands, a little bit of like this, a little bit of criticism of religion and cults, but that's where it ends. The second game, I don't even remember what the second game was even all about.
Wasn't it something to do
Wasn't
with
there
like
a bear?
dagger?
It was a bear, right?
I just remember.
It's about like the second game was about like the Trinity, about the hidden organization.
Oh,
that
no,
wants to,
wait. You're talking about those games. I thought you were literally talking about the very first, like the PS1
No,
games.
like
Okay,
the
now I'm
reboot
on.
one.
Now I'm on to you.
Reboot
Yeah,
ones.
now I know.
That developer is Eidos Montreal. the
Eidos
person who
Montreal.
made it.
yes.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, they made
Yeah.
that. I never knew
Fucking-
that.
And
Ugh.
and the third game, I literally had to stop playing because I always play from the beginning. I always played those games on survival, meaning that if you do one mistake, you have to warp back to your last campfire. So it's like it's harsh if you're playing on that. I think it's more fun because it's much more harder. It's like you have to really be careful. So it's not like, oh, if I do a mistake, I just respawn. And that's not how you have to like really think about what you're doing. And you can lose like hours of progress, or at least minutes of progress. And the third game, I had to stop at some point because I wanted to play the game stealth, right? I want to like every encounter, I want to go in, stealth my way through, like a real hunter, someone that like my vision of Lara Croft is like, of the new Lara Croft is like, oh, she learned in the jungle how to like do guerrilla tactics and like not be seen and like figure out how to like combat this huge amount of people because she can like blend in with the world and is very in touch with nature, so she can like weave her way through. But sometimes the game just forces you to do like sections where you have to shoot. You cannot stealth your way through.
Yeah,
or
that's a
you
big
can,
problem, yeah.
but it's gonna be super hard. And then suddenly the game just throws all my weapons away and says, "Yeah, now you have to stealth." And at that point, I felt like I'm being fucked. I'm like, let me play the way I want to play, but don't constantly switch it up. Like now we want you to stealth. You have not stealth enough. Now you have to stealth, but without half of your inventory. It's like, oh, come on.
I hate it
I
when
also think
games
the way
do
they
that.
set up the open world was bad too.
Yeah, it was sectioned
not-
off, right? Yeah, it was like sections and shit
It was
instead
like
of being a true open world.
semi-open world. Yeah.
It's not hub worlds. It's
Yeah,
not
hub
worlds.
worlds. Yeah, hub worlds. Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff, but at the same time, they hide so much like clutter around that you necessarily want to find because you want to have like the little entries. But then there's also like no library in your main menu that shows all the stuff that you've discovered, which is like a huge pet peeve of mine when it comes to like collectibles. If you have collectibles in game and you don't have in the main menu like a collectible library where you can access that later on so you can just read, fuck you. Come on, dude. It's like, give me collectibles, give me a way to like look at them not without going into a save file and then looking at them.
Yeah, I guess that's fair a fair way to look at it.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but But yeah, like I said, those three games have nothing to say. they don't say they don't have a message. They don't say anything. Like Lara Croft doesn't really grow, kind of a little bit.
You know, there you have a very good fucking point. Like, she grows in one certain way, like she gets used to all this, but she still gets fucked up in all of those games. It's like, okay, the previous games mean nothing.
She's basically a superhuman at that point, and I have a personal problem when it comes. Same thing goes for Uncharted or any of those games that like have human characters that do like superhuman feats. Like get 40 bullets inside of them, and then like can just in the cutscene nothing happens.
Yeah,
I know those games are like made like that, but I'm pretty sure, for example, if you get 40 bullets, maybe make the character model in the cutscene a little bit more like roughed up, So like at least acknowledge it doesn't need to be riddled with bullets, but like at least acknowledge that there was some damage done in the part of the gameplay, which is like it connects the gameplay and the story a little bit better. Now, for Mortal Kombat is also a big example for that. You get like people get their spines ripped off, and then in the next scene, everything is fine again.
Me and my brother literally played like Mortal Kombat X yesterday, and I keep commenting on like some people get fucking ice. What you call it? What are those ice sickles that fall from the? Huh?
Oh yeah. Stalactites.
Yeah, stalagmites. They get that shit shoved through their fucking eyes. They get their balls burst, and then they have to bronze them.
And then the cutscene, haha, everything's fine again.
No, not even like in the cutscene, like in the literal fucking same match. Those people who got their spines ripped out, they got their balls crushed, they got fucking their eyes broken, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They just stand up and fuck all happen. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm pretty sure.
And that stuff is more forgivable, though.
Yeah, I mean, like with Mortal Kombat, it's so
kind of-
unrealistic. Yeah, it's so unrealistic that it can't fucking be real. Yeah.
But still, it would be nice to, for example, if you get roughed up in the cutscene in game, then the cutscene will represent that you like. It doesn't need to be like, you don't need to be like having an eye falling off, but at least show the character model being a little roughed up, so it acknowledges that you haven't played the game as well as you should. And then if you go play it again and you play the story and you don't get any damage done, then the character looks fine in prime. It's like small things that I think are not so valued because nobody cares actually.
Yeah,
those are pet peeves of mine. Where most people, why do we even care? It's just a fucking video game. It's like, yeah, I know it's a video game. Okay, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from, but can I also like, this is gonna probably bring back some memories to some people, but before that, Blue, I'll let you go first because you breathe first.
I was just gonna say that I agree with the idea that games do need some kind of a direction or a message, I suppose. But I also don't like when they go too hard on that, because then you get games like The Last of Us 2.
I knew you were
and
gonna
for
bring that up.
anybody who hasn't played that, I'm going to give you guys a spoiler warning right now, and John in post can give you guys a countdown of when the spoilers end. But starting in 3, 2, 1, here comes spoilers.
There you go.
They abandoned the love that those characters had, like, developed in the first game, and totally shit all over them for the sake of a message of how bad revenge is.
Yes.
And I think that when developers focus too hard on a message and making their game say something, we get mistakes like that. The Last of Us 2 is an abomination of a game, and the only thing good about it is its visuals and its gameplay, which is only minorly better than the first one. I actually was so disappointed in that game story-wise because of the way they decided to go forward their message, that it's the only game that I'm a collector. It's the only game I've ever refunded.
Jeez.
I hated that fucking game, dude.
Did you stream it by any chance? Or was this before you even started streaming?
No, this is why I had streamed before this game had come out, but I wasn't like I am now.
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't a streamer. It was just like every now and then I'd stream.
Yeah.
And I didn't stream this one. I was too excited for it. I put it in, and I'd seen the leak, so I knew that it wasn't going to go the way I wanted it to. But when I saw how they were going to do it, I was like, fuck this. I literally took it out of my, as soon as I saw the fucking the groundwork being laid, I took it out of my PlayStation, put it in its fucking case, went to GameStop, and I said, give me my money. and they were doing refunds on it up to $45 and gave me my money back. I was like, fuck that trash. That is awful. And like, yeah, it looked pretty and it played well, but that is one of the worst games I've ever played in my entire life because they focused too hard on the message they were trying to get across, and they completely disrespected the love you have for those characters, the development of those characters. So it's like, I understand where we're going, like what you're saying, Carlos and John and whatnot, and I think we'll all agree on how fucked up The Last of Us 2 was, but
So from an outside perspective, because I played the game, I'm not interested in those AAA games. I've seen the leaks, but a lot of people were crying about spoilers. I made a whole video talking about how spoilers are dumb. People should stop caring about spoilers because you still have to experience it for yourself. Spoiler culture literally fucks me, like annoys me the shit out of me, because spoilers will not change the game. Spoilers will there's scientific evidence that spoilers will actually make the thing you enjoy better. Okay,
it is actually.
You can look up for yourself.
Like,
you can look up for yourself. It's true.
If knowing how that was going to end made it better for me, if I would have gone in blind to that, I'd have broke my fucking TV.
Yeah, you got a good point, but like, Carlos, what I can say,
there's scientific evidence that knowing something will happen is actually makes it more enjoyable, because our brain is dumb and our brain doesn't like to be surprised. And so knowing what already will happen, our brain is like, I'm smart, I know what will happen. Then it enjoys it more.
Can I just like bring this up? Before I do that, I just want to bring something up as like a massive like screw you to the people that like mess with me about like my anticipation, because this is now a different perspective. Like, I was also hyped for The Last of Us Part 2, but then another game called the Resident Evil 2 remake came out. And I was more hyped for that because I'm the biggest Resident Evil fan that there is. And I just remember like how people were like, no, dude, that game's gonna suck. Like, Last of Us is gonna be so much better. Which game fucking did so much better? Which game was better? This is the first time that being blinded by nostalgia didn't seem to like literally be a bad thing. And yeah, Blue?
I can't believe The Last of Us 2 won Game of the Year.
Dude, like,
it was pretty clear that it would happen.
Yeah. And,
I know, but I just can't believe it.
No, me and Carlos actually streamed that entire thing live.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And anyways, on the whole Last of Us thing, so it seems that The Last of Us 2 has like a huge discrepancy between message and the gameplay. Because like the message is revenge bad, but you as Ellie and as Abby, you kill like 1,000 characters plus their dogs. So it's like, oh, revenge bad, but also you have to kill a bunch of people. So it's like, what do you want, game? Are you giving me the choice to kill people, or are you give me the choice to kill people and just saying at the end revenge bad?
Well, they want you to do it so at the end you feel bad for the revenge. Like, they want you to feel like you were a part of it.
It's like okay, you can also not play the game. It's like putting a gun at your head. It's like, killed that person, and then said, now do you feel bad about killing that person? Even though I
feel bad.
It's like, of course I feel bad. Dumb fuckery. From what I've seen and heard, it's like, it seems one of those cases where like the story has nothing to do with the gameplay. It's like completely, dude. If you separate story from the gameplay, you would have like a good solid gameplay thing and a garbage story.
God, that fucking game. I'm having a hard time not popping off on this game right now, because The Last of Us, the first one, is why I bought a PS3.
Exactly. Yeah,
like, I had almost no interest. Yeah,
and then of course there's the toxic like relationship with fans and stuff like that, and the focusing of like a loud minority on the internet, and of course the dipshit assholes that have to go out and do the whole trolling shit that think it's funny to send death threats to people. It's like, no, guys, you're just giving other people ammunition so that they can take your criticism and say, nah, you're just a racist or whatever. It's like, it gets very political very fast because people are stupid, and I wish we didn't have Twitter. There you go.
Also,
I don't hate that game for any political reasons. I hate that game because the story is one of the worst I've ever experienced. That thing is fucking garbage.
It's not the worst thing ever made, but it's like, for you to have already invested time in The Last of Us 1, probably like it's like a betrayal of that part.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why a lot of people like got pissed off, because it threw everything. Like, one of the biggest things that I remember, like one of the first things, I was literally at work listening to podcasts, Hey, guess what? This is also a podcast. Haha, funny. But in any case, I was listening
Hit
to.
the subscribe button.
Yes, exactly. Hit subscribe on all our channels too. Links will be down in the description. Okay, but back to. I was literally listening to like someone. I can't remember what their name was, but they were talking about like how that plot fucked itself so up. You don't even remember that the game has shit to do with zombies. Like how much they wanted to try and focus on this thing. Like you literally don't remember the fucking game is about zombies. Then you hear about all this meaning and this message shit. And it's like, yeah, actually true. Because ever since like these leaks came out, that's all I was able to think about. Is like, I completely forgot this was a zombie apocalypse thing and all that crap. I just thought I needed to throw it out because like that's so true.
It's
actually.
so true, dude. When I was playing the game, dude, you're fucking so right, John. When I was playing the game, the thing that they were shooting for, the trying to make you focus on that message and stuff, was so overpowering that it was the only thing I could think about. I literally was like, I didn't even think about the zombies. Like in the first one, I was honestly a little scared of the zombies, like the clickers.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff
clickers.
freaked me
Yeah, I
out.
was about to bring that up.
And yeah, and then the second one, I just didn't even care. It was like it didn't exist because I was so fucking annoyed with what was going on.
But you know, like,
I didn't even feel like I was in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, but this is like another thing. Like a story like that could have been done well. Like for the first game, you set the stage for the world and like the bad shit that happens, and and for a second game, you can have enough time to expand and grow the characters and give them a little bit more of their side of how they see what's happening in the world, but make the focus primarily on them. But the way how they did it, like you don't even care. Like they can't stay consistent with how fucking anything works in that world. And now like I don't know how to say it, but then you just forget what the actual stakes are on this world, and then that essentially renders everything you learned in the first game useless.
Yep.
It seems like the second game would also have benefited from cutting in half, basically having Abby as the main protagonist and playing the second game like that, and in the third game playing as Ellie again. So it's like cutting the whole thing in half, which would make probably more money, would have brought in a new audience, and people would have maybe been less, I mean, the killing of Joe should have been at the end of the second game, and we should have like followed the whole story from Abby's perspective. No, Joe kills the doctor. Joe kills the doctor, and then we follow just Abby from her small PP self to her big PP self, and it's like the following, like Joe kills the doctor. Joe kills the doctor, and then Abby storms in, crying, bawling, who did this? And then she joins like whatever they call the Scars or something like that, whatever, the militia. And then we see her like slowly growing attached to all those characters that we will meet like then in the third game, and at the end of the second game, Abby. And you like when you connected with her, when you understand her motivations, you go in like bam, you club the shit out of Joel, and then you would understand. And then you're wow, I connect with this character. I understand why she did that, and now I want to murder her as from Ellie's perspective. And then everyone would be fine. You would have made a fuck ton of money, and the next game would already be done basically.
I think it'd be awesome for the second game to have been almost exactly how you're describing it, but instead of the game starting with you finding out that Abby is the daughter of the doctor that gets killed, they should make you play as her as an adult, like slowly remembering that stuff, like going through going through her growing up and shit, like talking to somebody on the road or something like that, and then you like at the end of the game it reveals who she is when she meets Joel. I think that would have been cool because then you'd have been attached to the character, had all that character development, and not known until the end, and then you're like, oh shit!
Yeah, that would have been like the best way. Then you had like that huge fucking oh shit factor at the end.
Yeah. There you go. I think I'm probably not the first one to think about it. There are probably people in the development team itself that thought they should have done this,
but they were too
someone
scared.
at the development. Some of the development team probably thought, "Hey, no, it's better to do this way."
No.
Everyone will
Blue,
everyone will minimize the argument. Everyone will minimize the argument that we're making, like, "Oh, you're just mad that they killed Joel." It's not that at all.
No.
You can kill any main character you want. It has nothing to do with that. It's how it was done. There was no attachment, no character development. And you spit in the face of the character development that happened in the first one. I didn't care about Abby. Make me care about Abby.
Yeah. Can I just also bring up, like, do you find it completely funny, like how we just came up with a better story than Naughty Dog themselves? And can I also just Let me just let me just also, this is just short, like can't you like also see like this is a situation like with the Star Wars prequels where there were people that came up with this idea like hang on, we should do this, but they were too afraid to creatively challenge Neil Druckmann, because it's the same situation with George Lucas. He did the first game, which was amazing. So when he did this, then people were like, hang on, this is a problem. But just because he made like one of the best games of all time, now they were too afraid to tell him like, hey, listen, you're probably going a little bit too far with the story, might piss off a few people. And like I see this as completely eye to eye, like with the whole Star Wars prequel situation. Like people were just too afraid.
I like the prequels though.
Me too, the memes.
Okay, so one of the things that like me and Daniel talked about, like one of Daniel Fiala, one of my YouTube buddies. He knows a bunch of like background stuff. You can look it up, like footage from like the casting for Anakin.
Yeah.
And you have two actors, great child actors, and they're like, yeah, this is probably gonna be the one. And then you have the one that landed the role. And he was like bawling out, crying, and like couldn't deliver his lines correctly. And George Lucas said, "No, that one." It's like he said he has something. And instead of anyone saying, "George, shut the fuck up! You are completely insane. We're not gonna take this child. He can clearly not act." That the child was taking the most inappropriate for the role.
Yeah,
so it's like I can definitely see people like, instead of saying to Neil Druckmann, "Shut the fuck up, Druckmann. This is garbage. Let's restructure the story." People are just like, "Oh, okay, fine. We do like it because
Yeah, and as a result, for literally Lucas's poor like decision making on casting Jake Lloyd as Anakin, he effectively ruined that kid's life because of how he was made fun of just for that one role.
Yep.
Like if he wasn't picked for the role, like let the guy cry, like he'll go home, he'll forget about it. Like who knows, maybe in another universe, like he would have been offered a better role and would have gotten much bigger, like a much better reception. He would have had time, like he would have seen, oh, he failed this rehearsal, he can work on it. Some other place will refer to him because they would have already had notoriety for being casted for one of the biggest movie franchises of all time, and then something might have happened, then he would have probably starred in a much different movie, and then his life would have just maybe turned out much better. Like
this is I think more like a lesson in like challenging your peers and challenging like general authority.
I don't share the same opinions as you guys on the prequels. It seems I'm sitting here like going, man, y'all fucking hate on this shit.
No.
Like,
I don't hate the prequels. I like the prequels. It's just like
I don't think the kids did that bad of a job acting either. Like y'all are like,
it did, and parts of it is because of the script itself. But you're talking to the guy that watches episode 1 to 6 every year.
Oh, me too.
Me too.
Every year. So
like
I like.
You go on, Carlos.
The sequels are fucking trash.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. And if Carlos can just show me what he thinks of the sequels,
I don't know what you're talking about.
My point exactly. There you go. Like, okay, I really don't hate the prequels.
I actually don't know what you're talking about. Which sequels? I never heard about those.
Exactly. But I don't hate the prequels. I actually love them because I grew up on them, so it's nostalgia, and I do see like their merit and like their charm, especially today. I'm just bringing up the facts because literally Jake Lloyd, his life was ruined because of that one role. And like I said, I'm trying to look for a better reality where literally I'm just thinking like, had he lost that role, I think maybe he could have like had a much better life as an actor, Like I don't hate the prequels at all. I literally think
also,
that
the other child actors were also trash, to be honest.
Which
like these were like probably like children of like executives, and like, fuck off, dude. There's so many good child actors. Just hire people that are professionals. Just hire professionals. God damn it! Stop bringing your child to work. They're not actors.
Especially like you remember like that one scene in episode 3 where George Lucas just threw his son in, only for him to get killed off.
Hire child actors that are good. It's not that difficult. They exist.
And then also bringing that, now if you bring up the director of the movie's son into the movie, you literally have no fucking say in this.
George Lucas, your son was garbage.
Now
okay?
listen, I have massive respect. I have massive respect for George Lucas because what he was able to do, but the way how like the prequels were handled, I would say like I love the prequels. Like I said, I don't hate on them, but I think like if Lucas went on to another mindset, it wouldn't have like that universal hate that it got.
I don't like that it's been reinstated. That there's like this. Oh, it's so much better than the what do you call these imaginary sequels? Like,
Yeah. I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Like, it's so much better than those imaginary sequels, which I never seen in my life before. I don't know what guys talking about, but like so much better. I was like, yeah, it's like like a polished turd is still a turd, you know? It's like it's like so much better.
I don't know why.
And what? Okay, so here's my always like my take in framed into the one scene, the sand scene. Okay, the sand scene where I think, let me explain. It makes sense in context when you think about the two characters. Padme Amidala, very young, was indicted as a queen and probably has lived a life of like being surrounded by greedy politicians, greedy like councilmen, and like complete. She didn't have a childhood, and she was probably being like observed all the time. Her emotional state is completely fucked. She doesn't know how to communicate. Anakin Skywalker grew up in like a religion that like hates attachments, including to fellow humans, but your job is basically to protect them. Now you have to do those two bumbling idiots basically, because they're still children talking to each other, and it sounds awkward because they are awkward. But in the background you have this swelling music, you know, there's like, oh, it's a super romantic scene. It's not like, but it's the scene is supposed to be comedic because there's a bumbling idiots. And then instead of like the scene just ending after saying the sand is rough, he then breaks into this Shakespearean monologue of saying, unlike you, so soft and so on. It's like, oh no, you ruined the scene! You ruined the scene!
No. The
scene is supposed to be funny and completely bumbling idiots.
That one scene is still my favorite meme to this day, and that's never changing.
Yeah, but like I said, the scene in itself makes sense if you put it in context, but the framing is wrong.
Exactly, yeah. Because George Lucas, he himself, like, he had writers to help him with the originals, and that's where he literally, with the prequels, he took full charge on writing those things. And he himself has admitted that he is not a very good writer. So obviously, like, this is, I'm not like, I try not to toot my horn at this, but literally when I talked about my, in my video about like how to start YouTube, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have not got a background in what you do, then it is gonna suck. Like, he had no experience in writing. Yeah. The end product suffered just as a result. So yeah, Blue, anything
but that's why making movies is a collaborative effort.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think the only movie in the sequels, but the prequels that sucked was Attack of the Clones. I actually think that
I agree.
The first one was Phantom Menace. I know it's not popular, but I think the Phantom Menace was really good, and Revenge of the Sith was really good. The writing, of course, the dialogue was not. I'll never say that it was a well-written movie, but I think that the Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith were really good. I cannot stand Attack of the Clones. It's boring.
Yeah,
it's cringy. I can't watch it.
I 100% agree.
It's actually the only one that I can't do. But I watch 1 through 3 and 4 through 6 all the time. The sequel movies, though, the only one I think is even tolerable is Force Awakens.
Yes, because they just rehashed.
Yes,
I still have no idea what you talk about sequels.
Okay, me and Blue will talk about this because clearly our minds are warped.
do I awaken in like alternative reality where Disney bought up the rights to Star Wars and they made crappy sequels?
Don't worry.
They didn't plan it out from the beginning and gave like directors that did that have no clue what they're actually doing because nobody thought about the story. Even though George Lucas made a whole script, actually 3 scripts, talking about the whole trilogy, the new trilogy that's supposed to be about like a female protagonist that was way better written than it actually was in the actual sequels in this alternative reality that exists that Disney bought the rights to Star Wars.
Yeah, don't worry. Like me and Blue. We warp to these different realities, so we know. Me and Blue are the elevated ones. This is why this is the Blue people.
I'm glad I don't live in that reality. That's definitely
you don't want to live in this reality.
We are ultimately more elevated in knowledge. But in any case, yeah, I can agree. Like the only good movie in that was Force Awakens. What I'd have to agree with that they
Yeah.
did when Disney bought out Star Wars. Like, don't worry, Carlos, they didn't. I mean, like, I think the only one was the anthology movies, like Rogue One and Solo. I thought they were actually fucking good movies. I think to this day, Rogue One's still probably the best thing that Disney in the other dimension has made.
So my thing with those movies is like I want to agree with you, but with Rogue One, for example, I was fucking bored the whole time until the ending when
Yeah, true.
Darth Vader came in.
Very true, yeah.
And all I could think about then was fuck, we don't have enough Darth Vader. We need a Darth Vader movie.
Yes.
Like what the fuck?
That's why people
Like-
like Star Wars Theory is doing a good job, because he's making like those Vader short films.
Yeah.
Like, I really think those were very
Shards
good.
of Memory or Memory of Droids, something like that.
Yeah, that
Like,
those
But he
the-
only
ones.
made one, right? He only made one.
Yeah, no, he's making the
Everyone's
second
like, we
one.
have a Darth Vader movie. Yeah, he is. But here, everyone's like, you have a Darth Vader movie. It's episode 1 through 3 and 4 through 6. No, that's Anakin, and then it's Luke. I want to see Darth Vader fucking shit up.
Yeah,
I
but
want to see his missions to Kashyyyk. I want to see him fucking scouring the galaxy for Jedi and fucking them up. Like that part at the end of Rogue One was so intense, dude. I was like, that's what we need.
you know, can I also like bring that up? Like, it is depressing now that I also think about it. Like, why does it seem like both of those anthology movies, the best part is the end of them? Because at the end of Rogue One, we had that hallway scene with Darth Vader, one of the best scenes in movie history, in my opinion. And then in the second one with Solo, a Star Wars story, they have Darth Maul, because we all know Darth Maul is like the one big reasons why people liked Episode 1. And he's always been a fan favorite, like, even if you watch Clone Wars and shit, like, seeing him. So it's funny, like, how the most memorable moments of both those movies were the end. And I don't know if that's a good thing if you're trying to make a movie with a certain runtime.
So in this imaginary world where sequels exist, it's really difficult for me to understand how they fucked this up, because there is so much Star Wars material out there that already has trilogies. You
Okay.
think about the Darth Vader trilogy. You think about like the Rise of the Jedi, which is like basically a prequel to all the Jedi, where like Sith and Jedi live together basically on this planet. And like what protagonist does it have? It has a female protagonist. Yo, you already got them. Like you're thinking there that you want to have. It's like there's so much groundwork already done. They should have just taken this shit, written a script, like made a screenplay for that, and made it as a movie. It's not that difficult to make a good Star Wars stuff, okay?
No.
It's already written. There's so much stuff written on it. But no, they just said, oh no, that's all legends. We're not going to take anything from
Exactly.
it. And then they took everything from it again. They took everything that was written in Legends and just poured it into sequels. I don't know why. It's money. It's money, baby. They want to make more money because they didn't want to pay royalties to the people that wrote those stories. Because, you know,
Like,
It's
that's
Disney.
that's where I think Disney literally shot themselves in the foot. Because what you say there is really true about, like, they had such a groundwork to work off of. Like, there were all those games. Like, let me tell you, like, there's a bunch of games. Like, who remembers The Force Unleashed 1 and 2?
Fucking love those games.
Exactly.
KOTOR.
KOTOR, yes.
Like, there are literally thousands of hours of like content for them to go through and make a video.
exactly.
But Carlos, they had nothing to work with.
Exactly. Fucking hell.
Makes sense.
Literally.
Imagine someone that sells that like sells shoe shines, you know, and they buy a company that sells hot dogs and say, oh, we have to restart the whole hot dog process. We need to like create a bun and create like a hot dog. All those hot dogs in the past, we don't accept it. Those are not quality. And then a year later, they come up with a hot dog that looks exactly the same as the last one, but it's made of shit.
Like a turd in the wind. But yeah, like I said, like, that's the big thing that Disney fucked themselves over with, because they had content, but then they decided, no, that's not canon anymore. So, because literally, like, there was groundworks, they could have built movies off of the fucking shit that they literally yeeted out of canon. Like, who remembers, like, Dark Forces, like Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, those things?
Yes.
If you-
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Such good games,
Yes.
those. But literally, like, those were canon. Now, that's essentially Jedi Outcast. No. Dark Forces was rewritten into Rogue One, because the main character of those games, Kyle Katarn, he was a guy that defected from, like, the Empire to a rebel. And he was the original guy to steal the Death Star plans. And Starkiller from The Force Unleashed, he was actually the guy that started the rebellion. So you already had groundwork. You could have literally built fucking movies off of those two characters themselves, and they're fan favorites to this day. Like, and then nope,
or that like Daniel Fiala brought this up. They could have just left everything as it is, moved the timeline in like 2,000 years in the front, where like Luke Skywalker has really just become a myth, like Leia and all those people have become myths, and then like start completely new with like a new generation of people, no attachment to any of the old guard, just completely new blank slate. It's the same universe, but a completely new story, new enemies, new factions, new section of the world, and then it wouldn't have the problem of like adhering to the old stuff.
Yeah, I think that's also a good way of doing it. Like, yeah.
Many options to go. There's so many options you can use to make a good Star Wars movie, but $1 million corporation. That's why I hate big corporations. Okay, big corporations are anti-innovation. They don't fucking care about innovation. Really think Disney cares about if they bring a good movie out or not? They want to bring a movie fast and quick and cost effective, and they want to make money as much as possible. They don't fucking care if someone comes with a risky project to them. They want to do something with Star Wars. It's gonna say no. It's not gonna bring money. So we're gonna do it. I hate big corporations because of that. Everyone thinks, oh, big corporations bringing big money, meaning that we're gonna more sequels. No, you won't get more sequels. You won't get shit.
That's why George Lucas was independent. He said he didn't want that aspect brought to Star Wars. And then he sold Star Wars to the biggest corporation.
Yeah, and can just for like everyone watching this now, Carlos right here has a catchphrase that he likes to like. But let's make it a huge drumroll thing. I don't know if anyone heard that, but I can cut you out. Don't worry. Like he has a catchphrase. I'm still waiting a T-shirt for. So Carlos, if you would like to share your catchphrase with everyone.
My catchphrase is just simply big or bad.
And and literally this is like everything we've been talking about with Disney and how Star Wars is being treated by Disney, that just all like proves that catchphrase very true.
It's a very simplistic way to say. Of course, like there's all this nuance of like, oh, big corporations act this way because there's financial incentive but nobody cares. It's too long. Okay, people are emotional. They need like short statements, and the short main statement is big corp bad, big corp anti-innovation, big corp sucks.
Yep.
There you go. It's very simplistic, but like 99.9% of the time it's true.
All right. So, anything else you'd like to bring up?
Yes. Have you guys heard about Ranton?
No.
No.
Oh my god. Okay, what do you guys watch on YouTube?
I basically
gun and videos.
Except for me, of course, best YouTuber in the
and
world.
Computer tech stuff.
if I like, if I literally watch things, I watch like video game review channels like Hedicrus, Some Call Me Johnny. I like variety content, like literally. I also like YouTube drama content like Kavos the Beak, and like I like watching it. I don't like getting involved with it. You know, like I just enjoy seeing this kind of shit happen. And it's like I'm so glad I'm
enjoying.
Yeah, I'm basically just enjoying it because the content that I watch from these people are entertaining to watch. I like to see their views on the whole situation. And I guess the last thing, like video game reviews, all that kind of stuff, I like kind of watching, I don't know how would you, people just talking about different topics, you know? Like, I'm going to bring it up because he is our next guest after this as the Suited Bird. He does like a shit ton of videos on a bunch of different topics. And I quite enjoy like watching like each and every single one of his takes on different things. So yeah, that's the kind of content that I watch. There's a lot more, but I'm gonna like condense it to those three things.
Nice. Blue?
I just watch I watch Joe Rogan. I watch Demolition Ranch, like gun videos, fishing videos. I watch some video game content, not a whole lot. Mostly like PC, tech building, future of tech, that kind of thing. I'm a IT person and I'm a computer technician, so like that's like what I really like to focus on.
I guess like
so. Yeah, it's just I don't watch a whole lot of stuff outside of that. I don't watch any YouTube drama stuff. I don't watch like the content where like this game screwed up and here's why. Like I don't watch any of that stuff.
Yeah, if we're bringing like career stuff, like you can build PCs. Like we've talked about that before. Like, can I talk about your business?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, basically Blue over here, he builds PCs. And so like obviously you watching that because it's part of your career on PC building stuff. Like if I can just add one more to my side, I also like video editing, and design and animation stuff. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to add that.
Okay. I watch everything. I literally have no taste. I wonder myself how I can make videos because I have basically no taste in anything.
And that's probably the charm. Like if you don't have any taste, like people can like see that, and then they can
Yes.
like see the charm in that.
But they want to blend stuff. Anyways, yeah, that's all I had to ask. It's basically it. I always want to know like what people are into because even though we like the same similar area, it's like always people will always watch like completely vastly different stuff.
I guess that's fair, yeah. Okay, so seeing that you're the first YouTuber, like we've actually interviewed, like before or had on the podcast, but this kind of semi counts like an interview thing. What exactly are your views on like starting content creation on YouTube? Like, do you have pointers for people? Do you have like things that you should like do you have words of encouragement, but also have them like realize the reality of YouTube and like not all the pretty stuff? Like, do you have a message? Do you have like a view and philosophy on how YouTube is?
Oh yeah. I have words of discouragement. Depending on what you're doing, you will be doing a lot for a long time without getting anything back. Like anything. You will be doing this for a long time without seeing anything coming back to you. One of the major things you can do is like keep doing it. That's the one thing you can take control of. The other thing is like when you upload and the quality of your work. Those are the things you can take control over, and you should focus on that from first year or two, because depending on the genre you're in, it will grow slowly, be stagnant, or not grow at all. So the persistency, improving in quality, and taking control over the things you can take control over, those are the things you have to focus on. And be prepared to get a lot of like bumps during a ride. There will be times where you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like editing. I don't feel like script writing. I don't feel like recording. And you have to like push through those things. So most of the time it helps to like start maybe physical exercise, or doing something completely else, maybe cutting off the internet for a day or two. That's like my practical advice for you guys. Normally I ask people for advice, but yeah, those are the things. And discouragement in general, the chance of anyone doing it is super small. Even me, we're like, oh, I want to do this full time. I'm aware that the probability of that is pretty low. And when people tell you, oh yeah, you can definitely do it, they either want to sell you something or they're delusional. So yeah, that's the reality of it a little bit. Sorry to get so down, but like that's what I try to tell people. But you can take control over certain things,
Yeah,
and you should focus on that.
As us like Undertale fans, you just need a lot of determination if you want to get there.
Determination, exactly.
If you want to make it there.
You get to those save points and you're filled with determination. Eat some mom spaghetti, and then bam, you're filled with determination.
All right. So, anything else you want to talk
I'll
about?
give some. I'll give some positive words on the content creation.
No,
I wouldn't. Negative.
Negatives. No,
Yeah.
please.
Yes, Blue.
If you're, I can speak towards like the streaming end of things, not so much the like the editing and script writing and part of it. But if you're someone who wants to get into streaming and you're nervous about being on the camera and like what you'll talk about and whatnot, my best advice is to you would be, whether it's Twitch, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, to just do it. Talk like you're in a room full of people. That's something that I noticed really helped me when I first started. Helped me. I have really bad social anxiety. Like talking to Carlos right now, this is actually like way out of my comfort zone. I don't do this kind of stuff. I'm not good with other people. I really struggle to be social, and So when I first started streaming, it took a lot for me just to do it. And once I started to just do it, just get over that hurdle and then talk, like I said, like you're in a room full of people, it not only helps you be more social, but it'll also get you ready for when that person pops in your chat. Because when that person pops into your chat, that is the crucial moment. That is the crucial moment because they want to feel like, hey, I'm here. I'm taking my time to talk to you. Give me something back. Give me a reason to stay. And they want your enthusiasm. They want to know who you really are. And that first impression is the most important moment. So you want to, talking like you're in a room full of people is a great way to get that energy that you need because it'll be like you have a chat. Even when you're not there, like before I even had a single viewer, I was sitting there going, oh my God, guys, I cannot believe this is happening. Like I was talking as if there were people there. And that is my best tip for you. Just do it and talk like there's people there, even when there aren't people there, because it'll give you the practice you need and make you understand the enthusiasm necessary to hook those viewers. It also makes it so when those people click on your channel and there's not, like they haven't chatted yet and they're just watching you, it gives them something to actually relate to and cling on to. So I'll give you a little bit more of a positive perspective. You can do it. It takes a lot of time. There's going to be days where you're going to have 0 viewers, 1 viewer, 3 viewer. Just do it. Got through those days. Show yourself, most importantly, be genuine to who you are, and that's what's going to draw people in. That's it.
Yeah, if I can just
it's
add,
basically like I said, take control of what you can take control of yourself, your presentation.
This is also something that I've talked about extensively a few times before. Like, to anyone wanting to start a YouTube channel, people say it's hard. No, do you want to know what's the hardest part about starting a YouTube channel? It's the hardest thing about starting anything. It's just starting. Like, literally, starting's the hardest. Like, literally, when I was doing YouTube, I was like, no, I can't ever make it to this point, you know, like, but then I gave it a shot, and sometimes it comes naturally to you, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it. Just like, if you get past that hurdle of uncertainty and you just start keeping at it, like the determination stuff, it just becomes like a second nature to you. Exactly like how riding a bicycle or something is. The scariest part about riding a bicycle is getting on that chair or seat, whatever the fuck it's called, and then just going. The same with a car. The same if you want to go into a job, art, anything. The hardest part is like just starting, and from that point, it's only up to you if you want to improve at it. You know, so
keep the pedals turning.
Exactly. That's my view of anything. If anyone wants to start, the hardest part is just starting. And if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then that's not something to be discouraged about. It's just the thing that you want to do isn't really what you were meant to do. Yeah. That's how I generally view it.
Yeah, recognizing that this is not for you is also a good thing. Like, if you do not enjoy making videos, you should probably stop.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Then just, like, try something else. Maybe if you see you're good at that, like, maybe try art. If you know that you have some drawing experience, you just start doing that and fucking go ahead. Just start drawing. But like I said...
one of the... Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to say, like, bringing back to, like, the bicycle thing. Like, it's up to you to get on that seat and, like, have, like, a family member push you to get you there. But it's only up to you after your family member, like, lets you go. It's only up to you then if you want to keep the pedal spinning and keep going forward. I think that's probably the wisest thing I've said tonight. My beard just grew 5 centimeters longer, just like the pee-pee.
No, your pee-pee just lost 7 years. That joke.
Fuck off.
The pee-pee grew this time instead of picking
exactly.
Off.
No. He made a confident joke about his pee-pee, which means it went the other way.
You know, it's Ultra Instinct. You gotta dodge that per se.
It's like the anti-Pinocchio. Every time he says something, it goes.
Oh my goodness. All right, so Blue, you were gonna say?
I was just gonna say, enjoying what you do is super important. It's one of the things that when I started streaming, that kept me going through even the bad days. And what keeps me going now, because even though my channel, I don't have a big channel, but I have a community, and even when my community is busy and other people's streams, or they're busy with their lives, and my stream is not full of people, those are still bad days, because you want to pop in, you want to talk to everybody, you want to meet new people, you want to share what you're doing with those people that you enjoy, because I really do view my viewers, my community, as friends, and I hold them dear to my heart. And when they're not there, it is a hard day, but you have to, when those hard days come up, you have to gut through it. You have to keep the pedals spinning if you're enjoying it. But if you're not enjoying it, even when there's people there, you should probably do something else. Don't convince yourself that you want to do this. If you want to do this, you'll know, because you'll do it and you'll be like, whoa, like that makes me feel good. Like I feel like this is it. Like when I first started streaming and I got my first couple of viewers coming in and chatting with me, I got off stream and I was like, holy shit. For the first time of me doing anything, I realized this is what I want to do. And what I did from that moment, as soon as that happened, I was already going full steam ahead, but I was only doing 5 days a week. I ended up doing 7 days a week, 8 hours a day. So I just went full steam ahead. And yeah, that burnt me out. But then I just dialed back and found my sweet spot. It didn't make me not want to do it. It made me go, okay, I need to figure out what works for me so I can never stop doing this. And that's what you have to do. Once you feel that click, and you will feel that click, chase it. Chase it with everything you got. And your viewers, your community, your subscribers, whatever you're doing, they will notice the dedication you put into your work. Exactly. And that's why they'll come back.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, that was fucking hell. Why does your PP have to grow?
That was too wholesome for me. I can't.
But 100% what he said there is true. Like, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then there's no point in doing it. But if you find that click that you have, then you should keep going at it, and then people will eventually realize that, and they'll stick around.
Like I said, but the taking over control over yourself. Yeah. So as long as you can do it, then
that is the most important thing.
And then afterwards, like if someone wants to talk about like marketing techniques and shit like that, it's like we could talk about those things. But like get the foot in the field first, and then come back.
Yep.
Yeah. Carlos, you want to do that? Sir. You want to do the proverb that we talked about, like when it comes to starting a channel?
No.
The proverb that we talked about when I was doing the interview with you. Or should I just say
proverb?
Okay, should I just say it?
For
people that want to for people who want to start a channel, like, keep this proverb in mind. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant it is right now.
Yep.
You remember that, Carlos?
Yes! I delivered exactly like that. Not fumbled at all. You didn't have to Google it when I said it.
Listen,
yes,
I remember
exactly.
that. I remember it so... I literally remember...
That is a big PP moment.
Yes.
That is a big PP moment.
But
that is a big PP.
I have to thank you for that, because like that part in the interview on your channel, I remember that part so well that just etched itself into my mind.
It's a good proverb.
Yeah,
it's a good proverb.
Yeah,
you know what, actually, John?
The best time to start is now.
Yeah.
You know what helped me actually learn this lesson a lot?
What?
Because before this last year, before August, I actually could not continue streaming. I had a lot of the problems that a lot of people who want to get into this have. I just couldn't keep doing it, and I would just get down on myself about it. Fishing helped me, because I'd go out, and some days you just get skunked. You don't catch anything. But I kept going out fishing and kept trying to catch that fish, because every time I caught that fish, it was so worth it. And that's actually, I just realized what helped me do that this summer when I finally just fully committed to streaming, because I had an experience of failing and then persevering through it. And I think actually that's a great example is fishing, because you will go out and get skunked. Sometimes you're not going to get a bite. Sometimes you're not going to get that catch, man. But when you do, it's so worth it. And I think that's actually a perfect example. Fishing is a great thing. I'm not telling everybody to go fish. I'm just saying, that helped me. So if there's something in your life that you do that can give you a little bit of perseverance and challenge you, do it.
All right, I think that was like, I'd say that's our tutorial for people that want to start doing something. Just the hardest part to start, and just keep going at it. Do what you love. Then people will recognize that, and then you may wind up getting a career out of this. Well,
Yeah.
we all wish the best of luck to everybody then in that case. So
Can
yeah,
I do the honor of sending people off?
okay? How do you want to send us off?
I send people off like this, okay? Take care of yourselves and have a nice day.
All right, and if
This has been the Blue PP Podcast, and we got John, Carlos, and myself, Striking Blue. Make sure to give us a follow at all of our social medias, which will be linked in the description. Thank you guys all so much. I really appreciate it.
And,
We will catch you guys next time.
yes, and Carlos, do you want to tell people where they can find you on the internet?
At Carl Lucas on YouTube, I'm the best Carl Lucas.
Yes.
That's me.
He is the best Carl Lucas. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a good one.